Hey everyone, today I want to talk about something that is really, honestly, I feel important. And the game that I'll be playing, don't even worry about it. It has nothing to do with the video, but I need something in the background, something for a visual. And since what I'm talking about does relate to gaming, I decided to just use whatever game I was playing. So, I wanted to talk about the benefits of gaming. The Something I see too many people thinking is that games are absolutely useless, video games. When there are multiple studies confirming that playing video games has numerous benefits to it. And of course, the benefits you get varies from game to game. Some of the most common benefits from playing games, some of the most generic, are, as a matter of fact, very useful abilities. Hand-eye coordination is huge. The coordination it takes to be able to see the screen and know where the buttons are and be able to press what button you need to press to do what you need to do in the game develops your hand-eye coordination, which is a skill that is literally useful in every branch of life. You literally cannot do anything in life where hand-eye coordination is not helpful. And for this reason, doing something in your free time that you enjoy that also increases your hand-eye coordination, that is huge. And multiple studies confirm that video games are a great way to improve your hand-eye coordination. And like right there, everything I just did, every single time I did something in that fight, I had to press a button to do it. And I have to see what's going on the screen and press a button in reaction. So, in short, how does that not qualify as hand-eye coordination? Something else I do want to say is some people may think, but I'm a gamer. I'm biased to video games. I'm not the right person to be saying this. Well, multiple scientists, multiple studies show gaming improves hand-eye coordination. And as a gamer, I know personally the benefits of gaming. Okay? So, in my mind, that makes me the right person to talk about it. Because I know personally what it means to play video games. I know the pros and cons to playing them. I'm not even going to talk about stress relief because, well, it's a pastime. Of course it relieves stress. That's not worth talking about. But there are so many advantages you get out of playing games, and it does vary from game to game. For example, if you want a game that tests your judgment, you can play survival games where every single thing you do matters. Unlike, say, beat 'em ups, where, you get hit, who cares? But one thing any game with an objective does is it promotes goal setting. Actually, any game where you're trying to do something which is almost every game. The exceptions I can think of would be like Minecraft or other sandbox games, but ultimately, most games promote goal setting, which any anything you can really do will promote goal setting, but it's like by knowing what kinds of things to prioritize, that's a useful skill, prioritization. And games giving you a multitude of things you can do, and often multiple correct ways to do something. There are also wrong ways to do it, and wrong orders. For example, in Dark Souls 3, depending on the order you fight the bosses in, the game can either be harder or easier. I am referring specifically to the dancer. Okay? So, here's the thing. If you fight all the Lords of Cinder that come before the dancer and beat them, that makes the dancer weaker. Which, you can choose to do that, or you can choose to get to Lothric Castle faster. Even though you won't be able to get to the Twin Princes yet. So, it does show, like, promoting goal setting, what you need to do to get from point A to point B effectively. Which I think is huge. I really think that games helping people to prioritize what needs to happen first, I feel like that is huge. Okay? And I'm not denying there are cons to playing games. I'm not denying that. I'm going to go over those at the end. So, another big one is reaction time. Okay? A good game for this is, as a matter of fact, Dark Souls. Because, or really any Souls game. And most fighting games, most violent games will, well, real time, of course, but let's not get too critical. Will require you to react most of the time. Which, having to react to what your opponents are doing, this will significantly improve your reaction time and how you react. It really does test your judgment too. Like, making the right decision on how to defend, that can test your judgment and show you ways you can improve upon such. Ultimately making you better at the game, yes. But at the same time, improving your judgment and your reaction time. So fighting games have a huge skill incorporated with them. You can't just expect games to be useless when they give you so many advantages. I still just think the hand-eye coordination is reason enough, but there are so many advantages to playing video games. There's really nothing saying they're useless except people. And multiple studies have been done to show video games can very much be a tool. And what about education? Educational video games are a thing. Which you may be thinking, well, what's the point in making a game to teach when you can just send them to school? Well, that's the thing. It's a shot in the dark whether your kid's gonna have a good teacher or a bad teacher. Another thing is engagement. A lot of teachers and a lot of subjects can be dry and boring, especially for little kids. So, enter educational games. They will get the kid ahead in school and give them a reason to enjoy learning. Which, that's big. There are multiple ways to improve engagement, but I think educational video games, getting kids excited about learning by giving them something they love to do, that is just such a great idea. I really do think educational games have a lot of merit to them, and this is why they are everywhere. I remember seeing a lot of educational games and other forms of media when I was little. Like, that is a significant benefit. And yeah, so education is big. Uh, it's less. This one's less playing the games as it is just them existing in the first place, but employment. The gaming industry gives so many more people who otherwise would have jobs they hate enjoyable jobs. It also just gives more opportunities to get a job so that less people are unemployed and less people hate their jobs. So that I feel like that's a big benefit just for games existing. But of course, anything that needs to be made does this. But it's just I don't get why people are always bashing games for being useless when I can give so many real and practical reasons games are super valuable. Um, so I can't really think off the top of my head of any other generic advantages, but depending on the game, there are significant benefits for certain types of games as well. I'm trying to think of one I haven't mentioned already. I know there's more. Uh, and then there's also like the matter of being educational in the sense that video games can show what it means to do something and discourage people from doing it. For example, this is a pretty extreme example, but prison games, when they have some iota of reality in them, can show that prison's a horrible place and people that just morality isn't enough to keep them from doing the things that would land them there, can help to discourage it. Of course, it's a pastime, stress relief, yes. Don't need to really go into that one. But I do want to talk about why stress relief is a big benefit. Even though I don't need to talk about why video games are a form of stress relief, I do want to talk about why this matters. So, we've all been stressed in our lives. We've all needed to cool down. Getting stressed is part of being human. And while it may not be the most constructive pastime ever, it's something that can appeal to most everyone. So there are games for really anyone who enjoys the gaming itself. So that isn't a problem. And it's just a really good way, like when you're sick, to pass the time so you're not bored. Because there are, as a matter of fact, super linear, sort of carefree games that, and even turn-based games that you can play when you're not feeling well. So it can help make people who are sick feel better because they're not just sitting there bored. The effect they have on mental health is huge. There are even games designed for certain aspects. There are games designed to fulfill certain purposes relating to mental health needs. But stress relief is the big one. So, stress relief is obviously the most common, I feel, other than hand-eye coordination, because you can't play video games without improving your hand-eye coordination. It's physically impossible. Because what are some of the really horrible things about stress? Well, it can give you a headache for one. Being stressed out can be headache inducing. Being stressed out reduces productivity. Ultimately, you just don't function as well or get as much done when you are stressed. You just don't. And the nice thing about video games is anyone who has a phone can go to the App Store and find something for free to help them relieve stress. So they're accessible. And there are games you can play for a few minutes just to take a breather from the harsh reality of the real world. Pokemon's a good example of a game that is easy to play, fun for most people, can relieve stress, it's portable. Like, there are games for so many different people even those that can't really afford much, in the form of free mobile games, which also give like passengers something to do in the vehicle. Video games can also keep little kids entertained when you're going somewhere. Parents out there, how many of you have kids that are just miserable to deal with in the car? Or were until you found something for them to do in the vehicle? That is a big advantage to video games, so that the parents driving their kids can't don't get stressed out having to deal with a bunch of complaining in the car. That is huge. Um, and online games like co-op games improve collaboration skills. More so ones with a voice chat where you can talk to others that you are playing with. But collaboration skills benefit. Honestly, like, I could make a series of videos talking about the benefits of playing video games just for that one thing alone. Talking about why. Why playing video games is so beneficial. But I just want to go over the basics of like what is so huge about video games, why they are an asset to this world. That's a big dude. But yeah, video games have so much. And the variety they have is just, it makes it so there's really something for everyone. Which makes, which I feel like there really is a game out there for everyone. Even if you're not a major gamer, there are things you can do in gaming if you're just not very good at them or whatever. It doesn't really matter what the reason. So yeah, I feel personally there are so many advantages to gaming. Like, I can honestly think, not really off the top of my head, but of just the ones that come to mind right now, I can think of like 25 good advantages, strong arguments for why gaming is beneficial, and why I don't get why people think it's useless. So, with all that said, let's talk about cons. So, honestly, video games don't have a lot of cons. They they have very few downsides that any pastime wouldn't have. They're a distraction, which is both an advantage and a downside. They can distract you from what you need to get done, but they can also distract you from tragedy, which is a good thing at times. Um, they're not good for you in large doses. Like, playing video games too long can be bad for your health. But that's true for a lot of things. And the idea that video games rot your brain, yeah, no, I don't. Some games are just mind-numbingly awful. Okay, granted. But that doesn't mean video games rot your brain. That means some games are mind-rotting awful. That's true for so many different activities, though. One of the only real downsides video games have other pastimes don't is, well, even this, like console and PC games just have to be plugged in, but like mobile games, you do have to charge them. They require electricity. That's sort of a downside, I guess. But ultimately, video games are a really good thing. And another big advantage I wanted to talk about just came to my mind: the characters. The characters in video games, this is true for movies too, can become role models for little kids, or they can just be an inspiration or encourage young people to do something, even older people, even full grown adults can find characters that they can relate to or inspire them, or could even be considered a role model. I have a character like this. I think most everyone does. For me, it was Shadow the Hedgehog. When I was younger, I was scared of people because of personal issues. I've talked about this in another video already. And I had a lot of trouble. I didn't know how to stand up. Sure, it was awful that I was being harassed, but I let it happen. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. Shadow the Hedgehog taught me to be strong and fight for my rights. Okay? Him just being this edgelord character. And the first real edgelord I was able to see. I mean, Deadpool, when I was that young, Deadpool would have been a bit scary. But the idea that Shadow still had the idea of doing what was right, like, to a degree, you could convince him to do the right thing. So it's not like he was a total villain. And it was more what he wanted, but he did have a heart. He does have a heart. In fact, a big part of what made him who he is, the jerk he is, was tragedy. He dealt with significant tragedy and felt like he could do nothing. I don't want to say what happened to him because, well, one, it's a spoiler for one of the biggest Sonic games ever. But on top of this, I'm afraid that could actually demonetize the video, and I don't know what demonetization could mean in entirety, but I know it could get a video taken down, and if it happens enough, it could get a channel taken down. So I still have to be careful. But yeah, for me, Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic Adventure 2. Okay? There was his origin. He taught me to be strong. He taught me to stand up for myself and for what was right. I very much consider him a role model. Everyone, I believe, has a character like this. I don't think there's a such thing as a person in this world who has access to TV, video game, or movie and has not found a character they can relate to, is an inspiration to them, has encouraged them to do something, and just hasn't benefited them in any positive way. I don't think that exists. I really don't think there is such a thing. So, honestly, yeah. It's just that I don't understand why so many people are like, oh, video games are so useless. Honestly, as far as pastimes go, there are far more useless pastimes. Video games have a lot of benefits, and most pastimes do have significant benefit to them. Heck, just being a pastime and relieving stress is a huge benefit. That alone is major. So yeah, these were my sort of general thoughts on why I think people should stop calling video games useless, why I think they need to be shown more love. Because every gamer in the world knows how useful video games can be, and it doesn't matter what game you're playing, you're going to get significant benefits from it just by playing a video game. It's like, I don't see video games being useless. Like, I just don't see it. In fact, with all the things I've noticed as a gamer, all the significant benefits I've gotten out of gaming, whether it be from characters, the game itself, storyline, whatever, I truly think, and there's multiple studies that back this up, but like, I truly think video games are one of the more beneficial pastimes you could possibly do. Is there some unconscious bias in this? Maybe. But I'm trying to use solely logic to make this video. And with all these logical points, I can see for the usefulness of video games. Tell me in the comments now if you were a video games are useless person. I'm not calling you guys out. Like, I'm not calling people like that out. I just I'm actually trying to inform you about the usefulness of video games. I in no way want to piss anyone off. When I make these kinds of videos addressing misconceptions or whatever, I'm trying to inform about the truth so that it's understood before someone who's truly nasty says it. I'm just trying to let you know what the truth to video games are. That's all I'm trying to do with misconceptions videos. So, tell me in the comments if you were an video games are useless person. Okay, you are my targeted audience, as a matter of fact. And I want you just to sort of see, you could actually call it the light. See the light of video games. See the benefits in playing them. And even just the benefits in them existing. And the technology, too. The technology developed from the gaming industry can be implemented in other ways. But that's a topic for another video. Tell me in the comments if you thought video games were useless before. If you still do, why do you think so? If I have changed your mind, tell me what exactly it was that changed your mind. I want to know. So if I make videos like this in the future, I am better informed as to people on that side of things and why they think what they think. I want to know. That would help me come across a lot more effectively. So, if you want to help me in the future with this kind of thing, maybe sort of help you see video games from the point of view of gamers, tell me your thoughts now in the comments. Anyways, with that, I need to end the video before it goes too long. See you all next time. I love you all. I just wanted to share my thoughts on why I don't think video games are in any way useless.